My name is Judy Miller Kleinfelter. The Linglestown Fair was held on my family's farm for about 9 years out of the 11 years of its existence. And it's always been something that's been very special to my family. Many, many stories passed down over the years. Over 30 years ago, a writer named Curtis Demme wrote an article for the Paxton Herald. It was a history of the Great Linglestown Fair, written from the perspective of a young boy who, after being introduced to a local fair, asked his father if they could have a fair on their farm. The young boy was my father. This young boy's backyard was soon to become the site of the Linglestown Fair. There was a big grandstand, a large half-mile track, a permanent stable for the harness horses, a brightly lighted midway, cows, horses, pigs, pies, cakes, candy, restaurant under tents, and a merry-go-round, complete with beautifully carved wooden horses. In January of 1920, B.H. Engel, who came to be known as the founder of the Linglestown Fair, met with boys of Linglestown High School to talk about a course in vocational agriculture. Every boy in the school signed up for the course, and in the summer of 1920, this enthusiastic group went to Penn State University for Farmers Week. There they saw a small agricultural fair in operation. When they returned to Linglestown, one of the boys, Harry Ryan Pittman, led the effort to get Mr. Engel to help them have a fair of their own. It was not a difficult task to convince Mr. Engel that Linglestown needed a fair. One of the residents of nearby Lower Paxton Township offered his land. It was called Moyer's Grove. The first fair was held there, and the following year moved to another farm east of Linglestown. In 1922, the third year of the new fair, William R. Miller, who was my grandfather, who owned over 200 acres of land just across Beaver Creek in West Hanover Township, offered his land. The Fair Association accepted his offer, and for the next 9 years the fair became the Great Linglestown Fair, attracting thousands of spectators. Earl Coons guided the establishment of harness racing at the fair. There were not only harness races, but also bareback mule races, bronc riding, riderless horse races, and pony races. Norm Carl Sr. and George Coons were among the most famous of the pony riders. As the fair grew in prestige, so did the individuals who attended. Lieutenant Governor E.E. Beidelman and President Judge William M. Hargest were featured speakers. Nevin Moyer, teacher, historian, war hero, and community leader, was a valuable friend of the fair. He served as a general advisor and was an inspiration to everyone involved with the fair. The women of the fair played important roles in its development. Mrs. W.G. Zimmerman, Mrs. Elaine Moyer, and Mrs. Harry Ryan worked long hours to bring the most outstanding exhibits to the fair. A large food concession was run and managed by the women of Wenrick's, present-day St. Thomas Church. Mary Myers and Edna Miller were just two of the women who spent many long hours ensuring the success of the fair. Mary Myers was my aunt, and Edna Miller was my grandmother. Curtis Demme began his account of the fair talking about Bob Miller's Backyard Wonderland. The Backyard Wonderland has continued for Bob Miller's children, his grandchildren, and his great-grandchildren. The children played in the old horse stables, pretending they were hitching imaginary horses to the few pieces of broken sulkies and harness that were left when the great fair closed. They played in the old carousel, even though the horses had gone. One horse still lives with one of the children. The grandchildren, great-grandchildren, while missing the physical remains of the fair, have heard all the stories and seen all the pictures, and they still take their dogs for long walks around the old racetrack, and they still pay attention to who's leading down the home stretch past the site where the grandstand once stood.